Hi Kirk, thank you very much for joining me today.
No problem.
We're doing a bit of a disability awareness training, and I know from our relationship that you have dyslexia. Could you tell us a little bit about it and how it's affected you, please?
How it's affected me, I mean, I didn't find out until I was 44 that I was dyslexic. I grew up and went to school in the 60s, 70s. I left school in 1982, so even though dyslexia has been around or been noted since 1890, it's still pretty much only recently more come to the forefront, people know about it a bit more. So I would say, because I wasn't aware of it up to that point, so 44 years, like a lot of dyslexic, I put coping strategies. So I cope with being dyslexic, you know, I do things and subconsciously coping with dyslexia. And since I found out as dyslexic at an older age, that's made me realise why I am the way I am as an individual. And some of the things I look back in my life and go, that's why I did that, and that's why that happened, and that's why I didn't feel comfortable in that situation. So dyslexia, if I look back throughout my life and now, backwards if you like, it affected me in the way, like it does a lot of dyslexics, in self-confidence. So I always looked at everybody else and thought, oh well, they're really intelligent because I'm not getting that, or you know what I mean. I just presumed everyone was more intelligent than me, which obviously is not my confidence, and it's like a vicious circle, isn't it? So that's how it affected me then. And since I found out I'm dyslexic, then it's given me a totally different outlook on life, because now I realise I am as intelligent as other people. In fact, sometimes more intelligent. Yeah, dare I say that? Because of that, because of dyslexia. So that's how I think it's affected me. And it's sent me on a different path now. Now I've got confidence because I know I am dyslexic. I'm quite happy to be dyslexic. In fact, I say to a lot of people that if someone walks in through the door now and said, Kirk, there's a tablet here, take it, and dyslexia will just flitter away, I'll throw it out the window, I'll throw it back and say, go away, I'm not interested. Not interested at all.
So when you found out you were dyslexic, you actually changed your whole career, you changed what you did in your life. Tell us a little bit about what decisions you made.
Well, I was quite a senior leader within a global business. So what happened was I was in that role, and I'd had many roles before that, and I was very successful because they were more interacting with people, and what I'm really good at is leading teams, motivating and inspiring people to do better than they are and progress. So I went from that sort of environment, interacting with people, which is more verbal and team meetings and graphical data, so that people can understand and what's our problems, let's move forward, to doing more report writing. So that's how I found out, that's how it came to find out I was dyslexic, through that report writing and picking up on the wrong use of some words. And boss was very critical about it, the business was quite critical about it as well. And I even got when I got diagnosed as being dyslexic, HR, like this one, came back and said, Kirk, we can't get anyone to write your reports. And I was like, I don't want anyone else to write reports. I'm quite happy writing reports. You've got a problem with reports. Just bear with me and understand that I might use the wrong words, but let's have it right. If I wrote something down now and there was errors in it and I even spelled the words wrong, you would understand what I was trying to say. Yeah? So it's not me that's got the issue, it's people to people, and people's conception that it has to be per to that. And that all came together onto me like a big weight, and I ended up getting virtually to the point of having a nervous breakdown. And I actually said to my wife at the time, I don't want to work anymore, for want of a better word. And we started a business at the same time, and I went to university at 44, which was quite interesting. So I went and did a master's degree in global entrepreneurship, graduated in 2012, and I did my dissertation as Are Dyslexics Predisposed Entrepreneurs? So my aim is to raise awareness to people about dyslexia, the positive aspects. I hate it being called a disability, because it's not. And I hate it being described as a learning difficulty, because it's not. Because guess what? I've got a master's degree, I can learn. Yeah, I can learn to do things but I don't fit into the way the majority of the population learns.
What is the best way to teach you something? Is it something visual? Is it, you know, how would it differ to make it easier for you to learn something?
Yeah, visual. I know you like to read books, my wife likes to read books. I get virtually zero pleasure from reading books because I find it difficult. I can read, that's how I write. As a dyslexic, I can read, and I can write because I write blogs and do all sorts of stuff. But I don't find it dead easy. I don't find it, you know what I mean, easy to read. And I don't get any pleasure out of it, unless I'm reading technical books or something that I'm interested in, then I'll read it. So from a learning aspect, yes, physical things or visual. If I want to learn a new skill or a new ability, I use things like YouTube. If I'm going to do anything on my motorcycle, so I ride a motorcycle, I will have my iPad, I will watch the video, I'll be doing the thing, I'll go back to the iPad and read it again. If I read that, I'd probably do it, but it'd take me a lot longer to physically, because I've always done that, and I always twisted that and it's done that.
Yeah. The whole issue is that it's not an intellectual issue. You don't have a learning difficulty that means that you are intellectually inferior in any shape or form.
No.
You just have to be taught in a different style, and actually you're absolutely great, and everything fits together differently. So can you explain how the dyslexic mind works? Because you actually, you know, have done a dissertation on this, you experience it, you understand it. Can you just kind of explain to people who don't really understand dyslexia what is different? How does your mind work that's different to mine?
Yes, and I'll start off by saying, and bring me back if I digress, what people always see with dyslexia, because they don't physically see anything, it's something that's inside you. It's not a disease, you know, I am dyslexic, I've not got a disease or what have you. But what people all normally refer to or think it is, it's about spelling and B's being the wrong way around and D's being the wrong way around, or words jumping all over the place, or do you wear coloured glasses, Kirk? No. Do you know what I mean? There's all these misconceptions of what dyslexia is. That physical outcome of language and physical language, or getting words wrong, is just an outcome from the way that the brain works. Yeah? So the dyslexia is not the reading and writing.
Yeah.
It's the outcome, that's how it manifests itself. Yeah? So how the brain works and how language works is it's made up of several elements. How the physical thing is, how you see it, so you always see an image of something, if you can, you know, obviously if you can see. So if it's a pen, you see the pen, right, that's stored in your brain. How do you say pen? The way you actually verbalise it. The motor skills for your hands to do pen, you know, and the way it's spelled. All these have to come together in a split second. And in the non-dyslexic mind, it's habitual, it's instant, it comes, pen, or writing pen. Because it's stored in the brain, you know, it's very logical, the brain's storing it like a library. I often like to refer to it as a library. Now in the dyslexic mind, it's not stored like that. It's quite chaotic. I know the best way to describe it is a cylinder of information or a bucket of information with all these images and words and everything in there. And it's not habitual. A dyslexic potentially is virtually learning to assess the world on a daily basis from a language point of view. So the brain's working on overdrive. So when a dyslexic might look for a word or look to spell a word, they've actually physically remembered the word, how it looks, and will get it messed up. Does that make sense? Is that in the
yeah. And even now that you run your own business, you structure your day differently because you get tired as the day goes on?
Yeah, because your brain uses about 25% of your energy a day. But with the dyslexic, because your brain's working, it's using active working memory, not this habitual, you know, a bit like a computer using the active working memory, the RAM. You get exhausted by mid-afternoon. So I try and do all the big activities as early in the morning as I can, because then by the afternoon, my brain will start to shut down, as it were. And if I get really tired or in early evening, my words will start to slur, and the wrong words will start to come out, and you can physically tell there's something happening, and that's even worse if you have one drink of wine or a glass of beer. My voice and my language will change, and the way I speak will change, almost as if I'm drunk. And you know, so I try and do all the tasks first thing in the morning and get them out of the way.
So if you're going, let's say you're booking into a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any difficulties with forms or things like that? Is there anything that, because you've got a disability, for want of a better word,
Yeah.
that is not visible, that anybody that walks past you in the street wouldn't have a clue, is there anything that would be supportive to you?
Yeah, you're right, Tanya, form filling, because what I don't want to do is fill a form out. My handwriting is not very good anyway, because dyslexics tend to have poor handwriting, the motor skills again. And I think it's a way of hiding your spelling mistakes, is make it scruffy, no one can understand it. So physically filling a form out can be, I won't be as bothered about it now, but even so you think, hang on a minute, am I going to make a mess? So form filling or writing checks and things like that.
So where you go, quite often nowadays you'll find that a lot of forms have pre-generated a lot of information on them, and you've just got to sign at the bottom.
Yeah, especially if it's generated. So if I was booking online, for example, or for a travel agent or whatever, I'd expect the hotel or where I'm physically going to have, if they need me to sign something, all to be filled out, and it's just to sign the bottom. It should already have known the name, the address, all that sort of detail. And I even say one of my, let's call them issues, one of my big issues is names. It's people's names. So people get quite offended when you meet someone. So say I meet you and you go, my name's Tanya. You would expect, generally people expect that 10 minutes down the line or the next day that I'll know you're Tanya. I have to go up and say, oh, excuse me, but and people, I can see people looking at me like, why have you asked my name? So I told you that yesterday, or I told you that 5 minutes ago. And it takes me a long time to cement people's names to faces. I remember faces, but I always remember names. So for me, anywhere I go, and there's name tags, and a lot of hotels do. That's perfect, because I'm not embarrassed by asking that person. And I'll give you a little story. I used to have a fleet of drive vehicles, 100 and odd drivers. They get quite offended when you don't remember the name. The way I used to cope with it and get around the name was every driver had a handbook, and we used to do physical checks of the handbook to see if they'd done daily checks. So I would go to their cab and get the handbook out and go, right, Tanya. And that was my coping strategy, was to, find a way around it. So name tags, it might sound like a silly thing, and why we've got to wear name tags at work. It's very powerful, it's really helpful for people like me, because I'm not embarrassed by remembering your name.
So you've actually changed your whole career, and your business now is actually designed towards helping people. Tell me a little bit about what it is that you do with people with dyslexia.
Yeah, because I've gone on this path. I don't want people to go through my experience and what I'd seen in the corporate world. So what I do now, I actively try and raise awareness of dyslexia and get people to understand it, both dyslexics and non-dyslexics. More for dyslexics as well, because I want to show that they're confident. If they gain the confidence that they're highly intelligent people. So what I do from my career and my experience, I always did certain things when I went to a new operation. And it's basically, I take 4 steps, I do 4 steps. So now I use those 4-step program with individuals. I'm working with a good number of people at the moment, and it does work what I get them to go through. The main thing I do is the confidence. Is tap into, right, where are you with this moment in time? What's your experience? Where have you been? What's gone on? I don't share that with people. So what is it that's brought you to this point? When did you find out you're dyslexic? All the things that they've experienced. And then I try and build out that confidence back up, and then take them through a program of, well, let's have a look at this. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's your issues? What can we do to innovate your business? And then they own it at the end of it, and they go away owning that, their life, if you want to do it.
And it is something really powerful, I think, once you've learned that actually you are as good as everybody else, that it isn't an intellectual issue, that actually it's just about doing things differently, about having the support in different areas, restructuring your day. Actually, it can make a significant difference to people's lives.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
Thank you very much for your time, Kirk.
No, you're most welcome.